I thought I'd just do a quick video here to show you how you can move a dart on a bodice pattern. This is off of my personal pattern. Right now it's got what's called a French dart that's going to an angle from the bust point towards the waistline. As you can see, my dart ends a little bit before the bust point because I don't want it to be super pointy, but inside what's known as the bust circle, which I don't have drawn on here. I've already drawn the line where I actually want the dart to be, down towards the waist. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one side of my existing dart. I'm going to cut up to the top of the dart and then a straight line to the bust point. And then I'm going to move this, and then I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to leave a tiny, tiny bit attached just at the apex. And I'm going to slide this piece over until these two lines meet, and then tape that shut and tape some extra paper right in this gap here. Here you see I've cut up to the top end of my dart, and now I'm going to switch angles just ever so slightly and cut towards the bust point, leaving just a tiny bit attached at the top. Okay, right up to there. And then I'm going to be cutting down this line, leaving again just a tiny bit attached here that we're going to pivot on. Now the pattern piece is all ready to pivot. This piece, as you can see, is able to rotate from the bust point. Now when you do this up close, you'll see it's going to slightly cover this bit. And you're going to come up to the edge. So what you're really trying to match is the bottom end, and bring that bottom end up to match the line. And some of the rest of the line is going to be an ever so slight overlap up here. Okay, and you're going to take some tape, and we're going to tape that closed. All right, so this is where our new dart is going to be. We're going to tape some extra paper in here, and then I'll show you how you draw your new dart, because these lines are not exactly your dart lines unless you want the dart to be very, very pointy. Here I've got my new waist dart, and what I'm going to do is slide some paper into here. We're going to tape that down, and you notice that I leave some extra down here, and there's a good reason for that, which I'll show you in just a moment. But we're going to tape this down, and then I'll draw the new dart in on the paper that I've taped into the middle. Now I just want to show you that I have tried to avoid the center line with my tape, because I want to be able to draw easily on there. So I haven't actually taped up here just yet. There's time to tape all the rest of this in, but mostly I want this to be where it doesn't move so that I can find that center line and draw it in. So I just, for these first couple pieces of tape, tried to have it just overlap, just enough to hold the paper in place. You can do differently if you like, or if you've got the kind of tape that's easy to draw on, but this particular tape is not, so I've just tried to just barely come over the edge of the line with my tape. Now what I need to do is I need to find the exact midpoint of this entire dart. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. Now this is my seam allowance here, this last 1/2 inch. I usually use 1/2 inch, most people do 5/8. It's up to you what works. But what we're going to do is go from my actual garment edge minus the seam allowance. And luckily, this is almost exactly 3 inches. So I'm going to take that middle point and draw a line straight towards the apex of the bust. So now I'm ready to draw in my new bust dart. You can see I've got my line right down the middle. I'm going to pick a point within that first couple of inches. I like to have a little bit of a softer point, so I'm going to go a little bit lower. And that's going to be the top point of my dart, all the way out to the edges of the paper here. So I'm going to draw those lines in, and then we will fold and cut this bottom edge. That's why you had to have the extra here, because when you do fold it, and you fold your darts in the way that you're going to fold them on the garment, then you cut the bottom edge. Here you see I've drawn in my new bust dart fold lines, and you'll notice that they are not all the way to the bust point. I actually did change my mind about how far it was going to be. just because based on an earlier fit test, I'd noticed that this was a little bit low. So if I shift everything upwards, I really want my dart to end about here. And I'm going to fold along these lines, not along the edges of the cut paper, to make my dart. And that's how you move a dart. Now that we've folded that dart towards the middle of the garment, we're going to go ahead and cut this off, because that's how it's going to lay after it's been sewn. So you just trim that little bit off with the dart held shut. I've done just a little bit of tape there to hold it shut, and cut that away. And when I remove the tape, I've got that nice little peak there.